Thank you to MPB for sponsoring today's video. I just built an entire app because FujiFilm wouldn't, and I'm giving it to you for free. If you have a FujiFilm camera, you probably enjoy the occasional stroll around the interwebs to look for new and exciting film simulation recipes to try out. Luckily, there is a huge community surrounding FujiFilm recipes online. There is one gigantic problem though: discoverability. Most recipes are just on people's blogs or in some YouTube videos. These can not only be hard to find, it's also really hard to filter for recipes that work on the specific FujiFilm camera you own. And if you made a super good recipe yourself but you don't have a following online, the chances that anybody will ever find it are extremely slim. That's what sparked an idea. It would be really nice if the community had a place to come together to share the film simulation recipes they've made. There are some pages out there that just repost recipes from known creators and then plaster ads all over the page, and that's kinda scummy. I want to make something where people actually submit their own recipes and can talk about them with the community. But I wasn't sure how to put this idea into practice. Then I remembered I've been studying computer science for the past 5.5 years, so I just proceeded to science all over the computer. At this point, I had a very crude prototype. My idea was just to have a big feed of featured recipes on the main page, and people can look through them on their computer or phone. Okay, let's face it, most people are going to be using this on a phone, so why am I not just turning this into an app for iOS and Android? The problem is, making mobile apps is really hard. That's the biggest thing I learned while working on the Halationify app for a big chunk of last year. Building the actual image processing for editing a photo took us like 4 or 5 hours. Everything else in the app took several months, and getting App Store approval another 3 months. And after all that, guess what? You've only reached 18% of the world's internet users. That's why I decided to make this film simulation community idea thing as a web app. That way, everybody can access it on whatever device they prefer. I started off by buying a domain. Every good project starts with buying a domain and then going full sunken cost fallacy every year when it comes to renewing it again. For the rest of this video to make any sense, let's do a quick crash course on how the internet works. Every time you're laying in bed and suddenly realize, oh my god, I forgot to subscribe to FUTC. You open up a web browser of your choice and tell it, I want to go to the domain youtube.com. So your device goes to a guy called Ned. Ned has a huge dictionary that has websites in it. Then you do a little song and dance, and in exchange get the address that you're looking for. So you go to the computer that has that address and say, yo, website please, and you get a bunch of code which your browser then uses to construct the website for your eyeballs to finally watch cat videos. As I said, my idea is to just have a list of publicly featured recipes when you open up the website, and when you click on one of them, it shows you all of the details and example photos for that recipe. But with everything I've shown you until now, that isn't actually possible. The problem is, what we now have is just the visuals of the website, also called the front end. It's like the pretty face of a Barbie, but when you talk to the Barbie, nobody answers, and some people might think you're crazy, depending on whether or not you're a small child. Okay, this analogy is falling apart. What we need is a backend to be the brains of the whole operation. So when you ask for something, the front end gets it from the backend and then displays it to the user. Now, if we want the ability to store a bunch of data, let's say millions of film simulation recipes, we need a database. But if we want users to be able to upload their own recipes and maybe also save others to a list of their favorites, we need user management. That means we need to take care of people being able to sign up to create a new account or log into their existing one. But that also means you need an email server to send emails for people to confirm their account, reset their password, or just send them updates or whatever. So I spent some hours trying to get all the transactional emails to work. Also, side note, why are email services so crazy expensive? Once logged in, users can then submit a recipe together with example images. So we also need a solution for saving and retrieving images. But images are really big, and big image make websites slow. Many big image make even more slow. Why waste time, say lot word when few word do trick? Compress image on user device, yeet at server. Today's sponsor also do trick. It's MPB, my favorite place to buy and sell used photography and videography gear. I almost never buy camera gear brand new because it's just not worth it most of the time. You can get it way cheaper on the used market. That of course comes with the trade-off that you need to deal with weird people on the plethora of used marketplaces out there. That's why ages ago I switched to using MPB, years before they became a sponsor of the channel. You get really good prices that actually are lower than on used marketplaces in some cases, but you get a warranty with everything you buy, even with shockingly old gear. Every item is photographed from all sides, so you know exactly what's gonna arrive at your door. And if you have a bunch of gear laying around that you don't really use anymore, you can trade it in for that super cool lens you've been eyeing or shiny green numbers in your bank account. Selling to MPB couldn't be easier, and you can get a quote for your old gear right now on their website at the first link down in the description. Thanks to MPB, I never have to deal with sketchy sellers or buyers again, though of course once you have an application on the internet like our little community website here, it automatically attracts baddies. I mean the bad kind, not the good kind. Programmers have a hard time attracting those. One really important factor is that I can't let people just submit stuff and it automatically appears on the front page. Of course, it would be great for people submitting their recipes if they were published instantly for the world to see. But you just can't do that on the internet, especially when you allow them to upload images. Because for obvious reasons, that's just a recipe for disaster. Stop it, it's German humor, it's no laughing matter. So my idea was, when a user submits a recipe, it is first kept private until it is reviewed by a moderator who can then set it public after confirming that there is no malicious content. So we need to add a system for RBAC, which means rolling because I can't breathe anymore from laughing so much. Man, I will definitely check out your MySpace page. Oh no wait, that's from my list of 2000 slang. It actually stands for role-based access control, so we can differentiate who has access to what, depending on whether they are a normal user or a moderator. I made a huge mistake here and wasted loads of time trying to make a secure system where images of recipes in the submission stage can be accessed by moderators, but nobody else has the authorization to do so. For very, very boring technical reasons, building authenticated image loading was more pain than it was worth, and in the end I realized it doesn't matter anyways, because users are submitting these with the intention of them going public. But we're not done yet. If you want to build a banger SaaS app every business major would soil their pants for, you need some proper server infrastructure to run everything. You also need a logging solution to detect errors and bugs, and you need to make the front end work on every frickin' screen size ever conceived by humankind. Because some people will look at it on their huge 43-inch ultra-wide monitor, but then there's Grandpa, who's looking at it on a tiny phone with the font size set to a bajillion. I then added the ability for users to add comments and star ratings. You can also add photos to the comments, and every user has their own list of favorites. But I'm not happy with the overall design of the page, or maybe it's just because I'm sick of staring at it after 2 weeks, so I tried some different designs. For funsies, I just asked AI to redesign the page and make it more Japanese. I told it, make it feel like a samurai standing on Mount Fuji, and it turned out pretty epic. Unlock the way of the digital samurai, the path of discipline. Cancel with honor. Okay, that might be a bit over the top. This is the design I settled on. Oh, and every website needs dark mode. But I was still missing something important. A really good logo, because every good app has a really good logo. Except for public transport apps for some reason. Like, at least try. So I started drawing on my iPad. I'm just including this section in the video because I want to prove to the German Finanzamt that I did indeed buy this thing for work and not to watch porn. Oh, look, the logo is finished. I felt like there was still something missing on the website. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But I had this really strong feeling I need to add something more. So I just sat there contemplating for a bit, and then I realized what it was. I had this sudden raging urge to add Comic Sans to everything, a visceral need instilled deep inside my consciousness by generations of university professors and English teachers. My whole career has led up to this moment. Okay, basically the web app is done now, but oh no, I forgot every website needs a privacy policy and fucking terms of service for legal reasons. But you're not a lawyer, you cannot afford a lawyer, and you're personally liable for everything that happens on the website. Here's to hoping I don't get sued. If you've ever looked at an app or a piece of software and thought, why is that not free? It's so simple. It's because making software is really hard. You already need to think about so much stuff before you've even started building features for the actual thing you want to make. And all of what I've shown you here is still very simplified, and I've only shown you the stuff that works, not the time it took to get it working. I actually wanted to create a small subscription in the web app, which is completely optional, where you can help support development and help me cover some of the running costs, because I don't even know how many hours I spent working on this, and honestly, I don't think I want to know. After a while of back and forth with Paddle, a payment processing service, they declined my account, saying that selling community access was against their terms of service, which is a bit stupid, and I didn't even want to sell access to the website, so I'm not sure what their deal was. But it made me realize that I don't want to turn this into a commercial product. This is supposed to be for the community. And that's when I realized it would make a lot more sense to just have a Patreon where people could give a few bucks if they feel like supporting my work. I realized I don't want to make commercial products, and I sure as heck don't want to plaster the whole page with ads. I want to keep building the amazing community I already have. So today I'm officially launching film-simulations.com, as well as a Discord server for anybody interested in nerding out about cameras. Both of these are completely free to join. And if you want to support me while getting exclusive tutorials, behind the scenes content of my videos, early access to unreleased Lightroom presets and software projects, plus some additional goodies like discounts for all of my Lightroom preset packs, then go check out my new Patreon page at the link in the description. And if Patreon isn't really your thing, I'm going to leave a big discount in the description for the best Lightroom preset pack I've ever made. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody who has supported me in the past and keeps enabling me to make these silly videos and projects. Also, if you want to see all of my other software projects I've made for photographers, go check out this video I made last month. Okay, that's it. See you in the next one. Bye bye!